What the fuck is up, my britches? If you are new here, hello, my name is Brittany. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 10 palettes that I still lust over to this day. Will I ever have them? Who the hell knows at this point, but every time I see them, I'm about this close to buying them, and then I just, for some reason or another, I don't end up buying them. But today, I am actually collabing with one of my friends here, Charlotte Holdcroft. She is such a delight, guys. If you have not followed Charlotte yet, you have to like run, don't walk. She has been one of my favorite channels in 2020. I saw her collab with Morgan Turner, and ever since then, I've been addicted to her channel. I think she's just very down to earth. She's a really chill vibe, but she's so witty and funny, and I just love the way that she talks. But she does a lot of the same content that I personally do as well, and then she also does the content that I like to consume as a viewer. So if you like my content, I think you'll really enjoy Charlotte and her channel, so make sure you guys go check her out. She's a delight, like I said, and let her know you're a part of the Britches. Let her know you came over, because she's also sharing 10 palettes that she is lusting over as well. So let's just dive right into all the palettes that I still lust over, and I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll end up in my collection, but at this point, who the hell knows? So the first palette I have written down is the Natasha Denona Biba Palette. And I think Charlotte is going to come for me on this one, because this is one of her favorite palettes. And every time I see this, I'm like, that's just the perfect basic bitch palette. I don't know why I have not bought this yet. I mean, it could be for the $129 price tag, but it's one of those palettes I'm like, I don't know if I could justify buying it right now, just because I always focus on like the new stuff, especially when it comes to YouTube. But the Biba palette is one of those palettes I would really just like to own in my collection, to be a collector, you know what I mean? I feel like Natasha Denona, like all of her palettes, I would love to own them all. But the Biba palette was the first one. I'm like, every time I see that, I'm so close to buying it, and I still haven't yet. So maybe in the future you'll see it. Maybe I'll get it as a Christmas gift. I guess you never know, but that is my number one, hands down. Now, number two is going to be the Melt Cosmetics Gemini Palette. I feel like with this one, the reason that I haven't purchased it is because I don't really love the Melt Cosmetics formula. I just posted a video recently of the Melt Cosmetics and Beetlejuice collection, and there's just something about their metallics and I feel like their mattes are really beautiful and really heavily pigmented, but I feel like I have to use like a certain finesse to get their palettes to work for me. And I think that that's the main thing, but the color story of Gemini is pure perfection, like chef's kiss, A1. I love the entire color story of that, but I think the formula is what really holds me back from buying that, because I just don't really have much luck with Melt, and I feel like they're one of those brands, they're pretty inconsistent with their palettes as well. So I think that's the main reason why I haven't purchased it, but I can't even tell you how many times I've almost bought that palette. If I were to have done a video on the palette that I almost bought the most times, the Gemini palette would win, hands down, no question about it. So that is my number two. The number three is the Pat McGrath Divine Rose 2, but the pink packaging. I refuse to pay the price for the original packaging with that color story, because the price of the pink one was the same. Like, I would happily spend more money for Pat to bring back the pink packaging. I love the whole aesthetic of it, and I missed it when it first launched, and I'm like, Pat, can you do me a solid and just give us back the pink packaging? I would love it for her to mix up the packaging all the time on the Mothership palettes, because I really think it's helpful, especially when you have a collection like I do. Like, when you have a lot of the same palettes from the same brands, I like them to look different, so I don't have to open each one or read the back of the packaging to see which one it is. If it has the pink packaging, it's like a clear indication of, okay, this is the Divine Rose 2. You know what I mean? So that's when I'm like, Pat, can you do a solid at this point and just bring it back just one time? I mean, I'm begging you. Number four is the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde Palette. Initially, I thought I was going to buy this, and I remember I was in New York City, in Times Square, I saw the palette in person, I'm like, nah, I don't really need it, because the price of the Huda palettes are a little bit higher, but this palette, every time I see looks with people wearing it, I always want it even more. I think it's a beautiful palette, especially for like winter time. It just gives me like the winter vibes with the lavenders and the like light blues or the frosty blues. I'm just totally into it, and I think it's a really different color story for my collection, for one, and then two, the packaging is A1. I think Huda really nailed it with the packaging on that one. So that one I'm like, why didn't I buy it when I first saw it in store? And it was like early when I saw it in New York City. It was right when it first launched. I couldn't believe it was in store, and for some reason or another, I was like, no, I don't need it. I think it was because maybe I was like on vacation, you know what I mean? Because this was like 2 years ago. And I was like, well, maybe if it's like, if I don't find anything else I want, because I was planning on also buying a luxury handbag, which I never bought either. But I think that that's the main reason why I have it. And then I thought during the holiday this year that if it went on sale, I would have bought it. And it came and went on sale, and I was just like, no, there's other stuff. And then I went ham on Black Friday. That's a whole nother... Wow. That is more or less the multiple reasons why I haven't bought it. It just must not be a color story that really speaks to me that much, for the fact of how many opportunities I've had to buy it, and I just still haven't bought it. Number 5 is going to be the Charlotte Tilbury, the Rebel Quad. I have eyed this palette ever since it launched, and I always said to myself, I will never pay that price for a quad palette. Until the Charlotte Tilbury Fire Rose came out. And now that I know how I feel about Charlotte Tilbury's eyeshadows from that one, not just like the really blinding, like the pop shade, the other shadows, the formula is so like luxurious and beautiful. Now I want them all. That's where I'm at with Charlotte Tilbury quads. And this one, I saw like the green color story, and I just think it's so pretty, and it's very much up my alley for what I like. I love green eyeshadows, purples, neutrals. For the most part, I'm a basic bitch when it comes to my palettes, but I love the pops of green, pops of purple, because I think they're really flattering on my eyes. So that one, I'm just like, if I buy another quad, I think that's going to be the one, because it's just, to me, I love like the, just, I don't know, it's got like a grunginess green to it. It's just beautiful. It looks really nice. I think if I were to see it in store, I probably would have bought it. Number 6 is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Jackie Aina palette. I feel like this palette really got swept under the rug, because this was when Norvina was launching all of her palettes, and I feel like it didn't really have its time to shine. So as a creator, I don't know, it's always something that I pay attention to, like what the hype was all about, and I almost felt bad for Jackie, Carly, because it was like they had their collections kind of really close together, and then you had the Norvina palettes, like 1, 2, 3, just kind of roll right over it. So as far as like the color story, I thought was beautiful, the packaging is stunning, and I think if I find this palette now on sale, because I've seen it on sale before for like 20 something dollars, I think if I find it at that price now, I would consider buying it. But then I have seen, I think it was swatched next to the new Pat McGrath Celestial Divinity. So I would have to see that side by side to really justify it to myself. But when I swatched that palette in store when it first came out, I thought the color story looked so much prettier in real life than it did in any pictures. Again, I feel like it just kind of got steamrolled over by all the other launches from Anastasia. And at that time, it was like, I'd rather not buy from this brand than try to keep up with everything that they're launching. So I could see myself still buying that palette, but it would have to be on sale. I feel like that's going to be my answer for like everything at this point, because I have a hard time paying full price, which I don't usually ever recommend people, if they're not collectors, to pay full price for palettes, just because how quickly they go on sale. But I'm like, if I see that on sale, I think that I'm going to get it. The next one are the BH Cosmetics, the Sweet Shop palettes. I want all of these. I feel like it was such a missed opportunity for BH to not do like a whole Sweet Shop collection of all these palettes, because I have the green one, and the quality of these shadows is incredible, especially for how inexpensive those palettes are. And they did recently announce that they will be restocking these. The blue one, the red one, there's like a pink purple one, there's a neutral one. I just want them all. BH Cosmetics, let me just write you a check now, take all of my money, I want all of them. But I hope to see them launch like a Sweet Shop bundle. Number 8 is the Lunar Beauty Greek Goddess palette. Now, the main reason I want this palette is because, one, I'm a basic bitch. I love basic, neutral, boring as color stories. That's just my vibe. That's what I really enjoy when it comes to eyeshadows. But I want this more for collection purposes, because I love all of his other palettes. The only two that I don't have are Greek Goddess and Life's a Drag. I feel like Life's a Drag I would be okay being without, but the Greek Goddess, I like how it has a similar layout to the other ones. I was really turned off by like the whole Cleopatra vibe to it. I just didn't really enjoy that. I love the aesthetic that Manny has found for his newer palettes, but it's more of, like I said, like a collection purpose. I would like to just own it, but I will not pay full price for it at all. So if I see this one go on a really good sale, I would consider picking it up depending on what else I'm buying at the present time. But if this catches me at the right time, I would definitely buy it because I love his formula. I love his color stories. I think Lunar Beauty is such a consistent brand, and I just have loved everything that he's done that I own, so I would definitely consider buying that one. The next one is the Shroud Beauty palette. This palette I was supposed to get in PR, so I didn't end up purchasing it. I look back now and I wish that I did because maybe I would have it at this point. But the color story on this totally encapsulated Betty Jean for one, but it was just such a different, grungy, perfect for Halloween time. I just thought this color story was so pretty and just, it overall looks so aesthetic to me. So I was like, oh, I'm so excited that I'm going to get this in PR, but then I never ended up receiving it, which is totally fine. I hope that this comes in stock again so I can buy it because I will happily pay the money, not only to support Betty Jean. I just think this is such a pretty color story. So this one, it's like, if it comes back, I'm just sitting over here patiently waiting for that one to drop again because I know that they're still catching up on orders and everything like that, but I still, after everything, I still look at that palette and I'm like, fucking want that. And then number 10 is the Sigma Beauty Enchanted Palette. I was so close to putting Corda Rosa on this list, but after talking to my friends, they always recommend Enchanted. And now they've like forced it into my head so much. I'm like, okay, if I get a palette, it needs to be Enchanted because I think the color story is really beautiful. I totally get why they say that just because I feel like all of their other color stories we've really seen before. I think Enchanted is the most unique of all of them that they've done. I was actually really close to buying the four palette bundle that they had going on. It was like 98 bucks. I was so close to buying it, but I was like, Brittany, you don't need 4 more palettes right now. So I think if this has a really good deal on the palette itself, I would consider buying it, but I really want to try their formula because, like I said, all of my friends rave about their palettes. It's just the color stories I feel like I already own. So I think if I had been eyeing Enchanted at the time that it launched, I probably would have bought it. But honestly, I don't even remember it launching. So I don't know, maybe in the future I'll have that palette, but I really want to keep my eyes peeled for the future palettes for Sigma because I always focus on the new stuff. I feel like you guys know that by now. So I will be definitely keeping my eyes out for them in general, but the Enchanted palette, I stay looking for it because I think the color story is really beautiful and really different for my collection. So that is going to be the 10 palettes that I still lust over in the year 2020. I'm sure there will be more next year because it feels like there's palettes launching, you know, all the damn time. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys have not yet, please give this video a thumbs up or down. That's how I know what you guys like to see. And please head over to Charlotte's channel and check her out. Go subscribe, let her know that I sent you, and make sure you guys come back tomorrow because I am posting new videos every single day. Tomorrow I will be featuring my favorite winter palettes, and it's another collab. So I hope to see you guys tomorrow. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!